as I was preparing, and I was reading about this story, this image that Jesus gives to us of the fig tree. And I was thinking, well, who is represented by the owner, the man who had the tree, by the gardener, or by the tree itself? Who is represented in this story? And I was reading from all the different commentaries, and there's quite a bit of different opinion about who is represented here. So I kind of felt that kind of freed me to pick the one that I wanted, right? As I see it, and it seems very clear, that the gardener is an image of God. As God looks at the tree, willing to feed it, not willing to give up on it, that is God. And it is a beautiful image then of the mercy of God. Just as the second Sunday of Easter we also call Divine Mercy Sunday, I think that this Sunday we could also call Divine Mercy the Sunday of Lent. We have already in our liturgy used the word mercy 14 times, not counting my sermon. There will be another about 100 here. And then there will be more later on. This Sunday and this story really focus us on the mercy of God. The other two, the owner of the tree and the tree itself, I think that's us. It's me, it's you, it's them. As far as the owner, he comes to the tree and he sees it and he's looking for fruit and he finds nothing. And so he says, get rid of it. I'm really amazed how, this was written 2,000 years ago. And yet it seems more focused on today, our culture where we throw it away, than ever before. If you have a DVD that stops working, you don't take it to repair. You pitch it, and you get a new one. But what the story is talking about is not so much as we look at things as how we look at people. Are they helpful for me? If not, don't eat them. We judge based upon their success, if you will, of bearing fruit. Now, the gardener looks very different. God looks very different at people. You see, the gardener knew that a fig tree only bears fruit in its 4th year of life. Those first 3, it's growing and putting out roots. It does not bear fruit. But the owner didn't know this. That's like us, as we pass our judgment, not really knowing the whole story. But God knows. And so God looks at the tree and ponders, how can I help it to bear fruit? Mercy. As I look at people and I ponder, how can I help them bear more fruit? How can I help them to live more fully, more successfully, to know God more closely, to love more deeply? How can I help? That's how God looks. And that's how we are called to look at one another. To see through the eyes of God. Ourselves first. To look at one another. To look at the world. How can I help? What can I do? Instead of judging whether it's useful to me or not. This, I think, is very helpful for us in this season of Lent. And it helps us to focus not so much on our sins and thinking, well, Lent is about changing, I got to stop doing this, No. Lent is about our potential to bear fruit. That God has given to us enough grace to bear fruit. That God is cultivating and feeding us, just like the gardener the tree. I mean, think how wonderful it is, we who are in the Catholic Church, as God cultivates us and we open ourselves up to the grace, as God helps us, with the Word, with the sacraments, with the Eucharist, with the prayers, the traditions, so many things that we do during Lent to help us bear fruit. And the fertilizer, I think that's the rest of us, the community, as we help each other. And yeah, we stink a little bit sometimes, just like fertilizer, but we give life, right? We help. It's important. And so today, as we're continuing our journey of Lent, we're called to look at the potential that each of us have because of God's gifts to us. And God's gifts are always enough for us to bear much fruit. As we here at St. Bernadette's continue our journey, we're going to include what are called the works of mercy. We have the corporal works of mercy and the spiritual works of mercy. You might say the works of mercy are the opposite of sin. In sin, I'm thinking about me only. In the works of mercy, I'm thinking about the other only. We will be looking at corporal works of mercy during the rest of Lent. And you will see that the stories that are before us are beautiful examples, illustrations of mercy. They will help us. The corporal works of mercy, that word corporal means physical, body. In other words, it's both that we need to express our faith and our love in a physical way, but also that the people in their needs are physical as well. So they are hungry and thirsty and needing shelter. And so we will be looking at that these 3 weeks. And then in Easter time, we will look at the spiritual works of mercy. But a caution here. And that is, it's not about just going out and doing works of mercy. It's sort of like when the gardener wants that tree to bear its fruit. He didn't climb up the tree and pull the fruit out, right? It's not how it happens. He cultivated the soil. He fed the roots. And that's how the tree gave fruit. So too for us, Lent is about that cultivating the soil of our life, about opening up our hearts to the love of God and the mercy of God so that we can bear fruit. True works of mercy can only be an expression of the heart. It begins with looking at the other through the eyes of mercy, of really wanting the best for that person who is all people. If it's just a matter of, well, I'm going to go do some works of mercy, so I'm going to go and I'm going to visit a sick person, and I'm glad that's over. Go back to the very first lesson that Jesus gave to us for Lent. You remember in Ash Wednesday, he says, if I'm doing things just because I want people to see me, or perhaps even myself to see me, that's nothing. Works of mercy must flow from our heart, and from that true conversion to which we are called today, where I look at the other with the eyes of God, as the gardener looks at the tree, knowing it will bear fruit. Be patient.